Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Sushmita. So it's 31st, the year end, and I think most of you are busy partying today, but this video is for those folks who are at home in their rooms scrolling through YouTube or trying to open a book and deciding what to read. I mean folks like me. So here is a list of all the books that I read in this year, and it has been a good reading year. I have been sick for a while and I'm sick even now. I have cold, so excuse my hoarse voice. But yeah, let's begin. The first three books that I'm going to talk about are the Winter Night Trilogy by Catherine Arden. The first is The Bear and the Nightingale, the second one is The Girl in the Tower, and the third one is The Winter of the Witch. So these books are very atmospheric and has very wintry vibes. So it's winter, and I think the perfect time to read these books sitting by a fire with a cup of hot chocolate in your hands. So it explores the Russian wintry landscape, and it has the vibes of folklore. And I think I originally gave it 4 stars and the stars remain the same. These are 4-star reads. If you haven't read them, then these are good recommendations to carry forward in 2024. The next book is 10 minutes and 38 seconds in the Strange World by Elif Shafak. So the story is about Akila Leila, who at the beginning of the story is dead, but her consciousness is working for 10 minutes and 38 seconds, and within that time she recalls her life from childhood to her death, and she recalls each moments of her life, every big milestone, and even the little seemingly mundane things, but everything is written with such nuance and such beautiful evocative language that you are going to love this book. And once again, a great read for those who haven't already read this book. You can try this in 2024. I forgot what rating I gave this book, but now that I think of it, it's a 4-star read for me. Next book is Homegoing by Yagyasi. From a distance, this book seems like about 2 sisters and their following generations and how they're impacted by slavery or by the slavers. And the book is a very minute and very calculated depiction of slavery and also the people involved in slavery. And it raises questions not just about the Westerners who enslaved people, but also it raises fingers, or it points fingers to the indigenous people who were involved in that business. It was a very heart-wrenching and very thought-provoking book, and again a great read if you haven't already read this book. Another 4-star read for me. The next book is Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. The next book is Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. So I have read the Poppy War trilogy by this author and I loved them, but I had an issue with the ending of those books. Similarly, in this book, it's a very satirical and fun read, to be very honest, and it's the story about an author who plagiarizes her friend's manuscript after her death and the consequences she faces. It also takes us through the hypocrisy, the intricacies, the politics of the publishing industry, and it's a very great satirical take on the publishing industry. But the ending, again, it felt like half of the book was very well written, but towards the end the pace dragged. So yeah, it's a good read. You can pick it up. For me, it was a 3-star read. Next books that I read are 6 of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. So these are like the it books in the fantasy genre and has all kinds of tropes in one. Enemies to lovers, found family, and I think any fantasy book that comes out are compared or equated with these books. So I finally read them. So this is basically a fantasy heist book, right? A 6-member crew who are tasked with this very seemingly impossible heist that they need to accomplish, but they this 6-member crew is a very unlikely group of misfits, and they have their internal disputes, so they need to complete the task before they end up killing each other, and how they achieve it. It was an okay read for me, I think, because any fantasy reader I talk to, they love these books. So I think I had very high expectations from the books, or I think mostly these kind of books are not for me. Over time I have realized that I don't enjoy books like these, so that may be the reason. And I give the first book, Six of Crows, 3 stars, and the second book, Crooked Kingdom, 2.5 stars. The next book is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. So this book starts from a family in Japanese occupied Korea, and it spans about 100 years and follows 4 generations of family. It's a story of love, sacrifice, loyalty. It's a historical fiction novel, and it is such a beautiful portrayal of familial love and how intergenerational trauma affects a family, and how war never actually leave people, and how trauma stays and festers itself unless it is properly addressed and treated for, and how people oftentimes don't have the luxury to address it or to deal with it. And it was very easily a 3.5 star read for me. Next book is The Lemon Tree Cafe by Kathy Bramley. This book thoroughly disappointed me because I think I'm not much of a fan of funny or rom-com books. I think it's the story of a 30-something beautiful woman working at a multinational company who leaves her job and then comes back to work at her nana's cafe, meets a very handsome man with family and falls in love, is very, very obnoxious towards that person, but that person cannot stop themselves from falling in love with her. And also the book has very problematic aspects too, because I felt like the book justified issues like in the guise of someone confused about their sexuality or about their gender. I don't think it is an issue that is justifiable under any case, which I felt like the book justified. So it was a 2-star read for me. So the next book is At Night All Blood is Black by David Diop. So it is the 2021 International Booker winner. And I can understand how this very tiny book can be a Booker winner, because it deals with very, very heavy topic. So the story is basically about two African friends who are fighting from the French side against the German soldiers. And in the war, one of the friends gets severely injured, and the other friend is then faced with a difficult choice of letting his friend suffer or ending that friend's suffering by killing his friend. And the choice that he makes has such terrible impact on his future life and his mental health, because he is haunted by the memories of the last moments of his friends. It was such a gut-wrenching and disturbing read. So it was a very easily 4-star read for me. But okay, if you are planning to read this book in 2024, make sure you are okay, or make sure you are in a correct space mentally before getting to it. The next book is The Forest That Ate People by Harshita Hia. The author very kindly sent me this book to read, and it is a collection of short stories from Assam. And so the narrator takes these small folklores and folk tales from Assam, and she merges them into her stories. So it is a very beautiful read, and especially for folks from Assam, I think this book would feel like revisiting childhood for you if you pick this up. So give it a try. It was very easily a 4-star read for me. Next is 3000 Stitches by Sudha Murthy. It is a non-fiction, and so the book is basically a collection of short stories which are her real life experiences, and it was a good read, and you get to know why she's such an icon, or how she's so insightful, or how she draws inspiration from her day-to-day lives. With incidents that we mostly ignore, she tries to learn lessons from them. And especially if you are school-going students, then I think you should read this book. It was a 4-star read for me again. The next book that I read was Asura by Anant Neelakantan. So you all, I think, probably know the story of Ramayana, right? Now just twist the narrative and put Ravana in the place of a hero, and Rama in the place of the person who attacked the beautiful kingdom that this person built. It's a very insightful take on how, just different point of views can shift the tones of different stories, and it also beautifully deals with issues of casteism, classism, and it was a great read, guys. So if you are planning to read this on 2024, I suggest you do. You are not going to be disappointed. It was a 3.5-star read for me. The next book is When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. It's again a gift from a dear friend of mine. So the plot of the book is very interesting. So at a time when women are expected to be quiet and demure and silent and well-mannered, women all over the world started sprouting wings and getting converted into and getting turned into dragons, and this was known as mass dragoning. But for the world, this seemed like a very controversial and feminine topic which the world wanted to quiet down or silence. So the mass dragoning was kept under wraps, and it was considered very controversial and illegal to talk about or research upon. So during such a time, how women owned up to their dragoning and became these giant flashy dragons in a world that tried to silence them. It was a very interesting read for me, and it was a very easy 3.5-star read. Especially girls, if you would want to read this in 2023, go for it. The next book that I read was 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. So the book focuses on the female characters of the Trojan War. It brings to us certain characters which are otherwise ignored. However, while trying to navigate through all the characters in the story, there was depth missing in the characters, but it was a great try by the author, and it was a very easy 3-star read for me. Now, the book that I think made 2023 reading list worthwhile was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a pirated copy that I got from an online bookstore. Okay, so this book is about the life of a Hollywood star who is notorious for her secrecy and for being married to 7 husbands, but the world does not know her real story behind this glamorous life and this scandal of being married to 7 people. So in this book, we are getting to know her life, from how she rose from a very poor neighborhood to her heights in Hollywood, and the sacrifices that she had to make on the way. It was a very easy 5-star read for me, and I think one of the 2 or 3 5-star reads during this year. The next book, the 5-star read for me, was The Winners by Frederick Buckman. So it was the 3rd book in the Beertown series, which followed Beertown, Us Against You, and then it was The Winners. The Winners followed the story after Beertown, and it carried the story forward. But so at first I read Winners as a single book, so it did not feel very repetitive. But if you read Beer Town, Us Against You, and then Winners continuously, then the Winners might feel very repetitive for you. But Winners brought back memories of Beer Town and the comfort of this wholesome characters that Frederick Bachman create, and it was another 5-star read for me. If you haven't read the book, then just go for it. It's beautiful. Now next book that I read was Disappointment, because it was War of Lanka. It followed Scion of Ishwaku, Sita and Ravana. So the book was about the War of Lanka, right? But it turned out to be something very convenient and having no stakes at all. After 3 beautiful books and creating 3 beautiful worlds in the previous 3 books, I think Amish gave up and wrote that book, which was not worth it. I mean, I would have been happy if I didn't read the book. So it was a 2-star read for me. The next book that I read was And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Bachman. So it's the story of, it's a novella. It's the story of a grandfather and his grandson, and the grandfather is slowly losing his memory, and within just a few pages we are taken into this heart-wrenching tale of life and its losses. It was again a great 5-star read for me. The next book that I read was The Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Bachman again. So it's the tale of a very successful man who sacrifices his personal relationships for his success, and now he's then dealt with a choice to save the life of a little girl in exchange for his life on earth, as well as the memories of himself in his loved ones. So what choice does he make? So it is again a novella, and just within a few pages it raises very important philosophical questions of life. Though I found some loopholes, which is very rare for me in a Frederick Bachman book, so I gave this book 3.5 stars. So that's it. How many books did I read? I'll have to count. So yeah, these are the books that I read. I think I read about 10 Assamese books also during this year, so I'm very happy with my reading list. And share me your reading list in the comments, and if you are watching my video till now, thank you. Make sure to like this video, share it among your friends, and also subscribe to my channel. Bye.